When Justin started cheating on me openly, I decided two could play at that game. When paparazzi caught him making out with his mistress at a high-profile charity gala, I staged a photo op with Jungkook, the hottest K-pop star in the world, making it look like we were kissing in the back of a Maybach. When explicit photos of him and his side piece flooded Twitter, I photoshopped a compromising picture of my own and texted it to him. Justin barely managed to suppress his rage. He walked over to me, his eyes brimming with a dark, mocking amusement. "I'm spending tonight with Haley for her birthday," he sneered. "Let's see if you have the guts to find a guy to spend your birthday with. If you end up all alone tonight, Selena, don't blame me for looking down on you." I sat at my vanity, leisurely applying my lipstick. "Don't worry about me," I said, my tone indifferent. "He's picking me up soon." That he was the 18-year-old version of Justin. The boy who used to put me above everything else. The boy who would have done absolutely anything I asked for my birthday. Crash, Justin's fist slammed into the vanity mirror, shattering the glass into a massive spiderweb. Before I could even process the shock, he grabbed my wrists, pinning me down. "Are you ever going to stop, Selena? Does getting revenge on me get you off?" Maybe it does, I thought. After all, Justin had a girl for every occasion. A girl for when he was drunk, a girl for his business trips, a girl for his vacations in Aspen. He never seemed to get tired of it. Seeing my completely deadpan expression, Justin practically ground his teeth into dust. "Who is he?" "You wouldn't know him even if I told you." The very words that used to drive me to the brink of insanity when he said them to me, now rolled effortlessly off my tongue. Justin let out a dark, chilling laugh. "Great. You're really fucking unbelievable, you know that?" In the next second, he completely lost what was left of his patience. His voice skyrocketed. "Where did he touch you? Tell me." Like a madman, he started tearing at my silk dress, pointing to every inch of my exposed skin. "Here? Or here?" I wrenched myself free and slapped him hard across the face. "You're a bastard, Justin." It was only when he saw the physiological tears welling in the corners of my eyes that his manic energy subsided. His tone softened. "If you're just making all this up to piss me off because I'm not spending your birthday with you, then you're being incredibly petty." With that, he pulled a velvet jewelry box from his tailored suit pocket. As he did, a dirty, stained lace thong fell out onto the floor. I was already used to it. I'd found used condoms hidden under our fret bed sheets. I'd found various sex toys discarded on our kitchen counters. Compared to all of that, a pair of dirty panties was practically nothing. A flash of panic crossed Justin's eyes, but he immediately pretended nothing had happened. "Here. Your birthday present," he said, shoving the box toward me. "Take it and stop throwing a tantrum." I took the box. Against my better judgment, a tiny sliver of hope fluttered in my chest. But when I snapped the lid open, a rotting, dead rat was staring back at me. I screamed and dropped the box. The putrid stench of decay instantly filled the bedroom. Justin didn't even flinch. He offered a lazy excuse. "Haley just loves playing pranks. I'll buy you something else later to make up for it." Pranks. Swapping my prenatal vitamins with abortion pills was a prank. Cutting the brake lines on my Porsche was a prank. His excuse was absolute garbage. I frantically scrubbed my hands with Clorox wipes, my voice cold. "No need to explain. I never asked for your gift anyway." That single sentence completely ignited Justin's fury. With a violent sweep of his arm, he sent my expensive La Mer skincare crashing to the floor. "So you're just gonna let your little sugar daddy buy your gifts instead?" he roared. "Stop pretending you don't care, Selena. You're throwing this massive fit just to get me to stay home tonight, aren't you? Well, keep dreaming." Dropping those words like a bomb, he grabbed a handful of condoms from his nightstand and stormed out of the penthouse without looking back. My fingers curled tightly into my palms. I stood there amidst the wreckage of my bedroom, my heart plummeting in a painful freefall. The 18-year-old Justin would have never done this to me. Back then, he had bought me a cheap bouquet of baby's breath, my favorite, and proudly showed off my name tattooed across his collarbone like a reckless, love-struck teenager. He used to hold me so tightly, terrified of losing me. "Selena, whatever you wish for tonight, I swear I'll make it happen." Slowly, I pulled myself out of the ghost of that boy's embrace. I looked at the hallucination of the 18-year-old Justin standing in front of me, and said seriously, "My birthday wish is to divorce the future you." Staring at the glaring divorce papers on the table, the 18-year-old Justin's eyes welled with tears. Did he hurt you?" Of course, the boy in front of me couldn't fathom it. Because when we were 18, we lived in a cramped, 200-square-foot studio in Brooklyn, staring up at the ceiling and dreaming of the future. I was there when he made his very first dollar. Later, Justin made a name for himself in the tech industry. And then, he climbed his way to the top of Forbes' billionaire list. During his acceptance speech for Tech Innovator of the Year, the only person he thanked was the passionate, gentle Selena who stood by him when he had nothing. Everyone in New York high society said we were the ultimate power couple. When did this love turn so toxic? Probably the night he got blackout drunk and accidentally called me from another woman's bed. I sat in the dark, torturing myself by listening to the obscene sounds coming through the speaker all night long. With swollen, bloodshot eyes, I had foolishly confronted the man who hadn't been home in 3 days. "You promised you would never change." Reeking of cheap perfume, Justin had simply pulled me into a gentle hug. "My promise never changed. I still love you." But Kendall, Gigi, and Bella, they were crying, waiting for me to show up. I had gone to war with those girls, naively believing that if I chased them away, my marriage would be safe. I was so incredibly stupid. Those girls were just the tip of the iceberg. Justin grew worse and worse. He slept with my college classmates, my friends, my former coworkers. When I finally broke down to confront him, he just casually adjusted his Rolex and warned me, "If you keep digging, you're only going to realize how ugly this marriage really is." Don't humiliate yourself, Selena. Besides, you need my money for your mother's hospital bills. He was blackmailing me. That was the first time I truly felt terrified of him. The 25-year-old billionaire Justin could no longer coexist with the 18-year-old boy I fell in love with. The 18-year-old Justin in my vision reached out, wiping a tear from my eye. With a trembling hand, he signed the divorce papers. He cried, apologizing to me on behalf of the monster he would become 7 years later. I blew out the candle on the cheap cupcake he had brought me. For the first time in years, I felt a weight lift off my chest. Maybe I should have walked away a long time ago. Outside my window, the massive billboards in Times Square were flashing a synchronized message, "Happy birthday, Haley." Paparazzi had already posted photos of Justin and Haley making out by the floor-to-ceiling windows of a Hamptons beach house. He had taken her to an exclusive underground auction and spent millions on her. In the background of the photos, a $500,000 fireworks display lit up the night sky. I looked down at the rotting rat on my bedroom floor and let out a bitter, self-deprecating laugh. In their exclusive group chats, the Upper East Side wives were already tearing me apart. Can't even keep her own husband on a leash. How pathetic. Haley has to be his 99th mistress by now, right? Selena retains her title as the most cucked wife in NYC. It's her own fault her womb is barren. She can't even lock him down with a baby. Every word on the screen felt like needles piercing my heart. Years ago, when I was pregnant, I got into a horrific car accident. Trapped in the crushed metal, terrified for my life, I accidentally dialed Justin on FaceTime. When the call connected, the screen showed Justin shirtless, wrapping his arms around my then best friend. He glared at the camera and snapped, "Stop checking up on me. It just makes me sick to look at you." He violently hung up. By the time the paramedics extracted me, I had lost the baby, and my ability to ever have children again. He used to say we would name our future babies Angel and Hope. I only found out later, by stalking Haley's Instagram, that she had just bought 2 purebred Pomeranians. Their names were Angel and Hope. Maybe Justin had been dropping hints all along. We had no future. That night, I packed my suitcases. Suddenly, my bedroom door was kicked open with explosive force. Justin stood there, his face thunderous, his eyes practically bleeding with rage. "Selena, you slipped Spanish fly into Haley's drink and now you think you can just run away? You have some fucking nerve." Before I could even process his words, a brutal backhand sent me crashing to the floor. My ears rang, the room spinning violently. I swallowed the metallic taste of blood in my mouth and sneered, "Is this another one of your sick fetishes?" Justin let out a cold scoff and threw a stack of glossy photographs directly into my face. In the photos, Haley was half naked, grinding against random men on a dance floor. In another, she was lying on the auction block at the gala, offering herself up to the highest bidder while the crowd went wild. "You knew I was taking her to the Sotheby's auction tonight, so you paid a waiter to drug her. You completely ruined her reputation." The veins in Justin's forehead throbbed with unadulterated fury. I remembered when a gross billionaire client had groped my thigh at a dinner party, and Justin had just coldly told me to endure it for the sake of the business deal. He never offered me an explanation or an apology. But Haley embarrasses herself at an auction, and he loses his fucking mind. I suppressed the bitter ache in my chest. I don't have the time or the boredom to pull a stunt like that. Just then, Haley stumbled into the penthouse, crying hysterically. She looked like a trembling, fragile victim. "Mrs. Bieber," she sobbed, shrinking behind Justin. "The waiter told me the champagne was from you. I didn't know you would drug me." Sob. "I can never show my face in public again. You might as well just kill me now." She grabbed my hand and tried to force me to hit her with it. Justin looked down at me, his eyes filled with absolute disgust. "What's your excuse now, Selena? I've spoiled you too much. First you make up a fake lover to make me jealous, and now you poison Haley. You are completely beyond saving." His icy glare felt like a physical stab to the chest. Exhausted to my bones, I yelled back, "I said I didn't do it, and I didn't. You can screw whoever you want, I literally do not care anymore." Justin froze, a flash of genuine shock crossing his features. But then, Haley pulled out her phone, started an Instagram live, and reached for the zipper of her dress. "You're right. I framed you, Mrs. Bieber. I'm just a cheap slut who wants to sell her body. I'll just sell myself right now." Her pathetic, theatrical performance sent Justin into an absolute panic. He grabbed her arms, stopping her, his face full of heartache. "I know it wasn't your fault, Haley. Don't do this to yourself." In the next second, his vicious gaze locked onto me. "You're the one who committed the crime. Why don't you strip on live? I'll pay you $10,000 for every piece of clothing you take off." I snapped my head up, my voice trembling in sheer disbelief. "You want me to strip on Instagram Live? You're out of your mind, Justin. I don't want your fucking dirty money." Justin let out a dark chuckle. He pulled out his phone, tapped the screen a few times, and slipped it back into his pocket. Less than 10 seconds later, my phone rang. It was Mount Sinai Hospital. "Ms. Gomez, our billing system is showing that all of your credit cards and bank accounts have just been frozen. Your mother is on life support. If we don't process the payment in the next 10 minutes, we'll have to terminate care." Boom. It felt like a bomb went off in my head. I couldn't believe my ears. I looked up, meeting Justin's smug, wicked smirk. "How about now?" he taunted. "Tell me, do you want my money now?" In that moment, I turned to stone. Even my breathing shook. "You are a despicable, soulless monster, Justin." Years ago, when his tech company went public and made him a billionaire, he had knelt in front of me, wanting to give me the world. He had said, "You are more important to me than my own life. All the diamonds in the world could never compare to you." And now, he was using a frozen bank account to hold a gun to my dying mother's head. Staring at the flashing caller ID from the hospital, I finally bowed my head to reality. Staring dead into the lens of Haley's iPhone, I numbly began unbuttoning my trench coat. As the viewer count on the IG Live skyrocketed, the filthy, degrading comments scrolled rapidly across the screen. Damn, she's actually stacked. Couldn't tell when she's playing the classy billionaire wife on TV. So this is NYC's richest wife? Didn't know she was such a tramp. Acts all high and mighty at the Met Gala, but ends up putting on a free show for us peasants anyway. LMAO. More and more people flooded the stream. Everyone watching was part of the Manhattan elite, the same people we rubbed shoulders with every day. As my coat slipped off, revealing my lingerie, the comment section exploded. My bare skin was completely exposed to the internet. The mocking, predatory stares felt like a million razor blades slicing my skin. This is what happens to useless wives. It's worse than being a side piece. She's an absolute embarrassment to high society. Spit on her. Justin, the man who had once elevated me to the status of NYC's most respected woman, was now the one reducing me to a public laughingstock. He stood there, impeccably calm, but the subtle twitch in his jaw betrayed his suppressed tension. Haley excitedly zoomed the camera in, leaving absolutely nothing to the imagination. Oh my god, so many people are sending gifts to Mrs. Bieber in the chat. Haley squealed. Don't worry, Selena. I'll cash them out and send the money straight to you. You earned every penny. My entire body was shaking uncontrollably. Just as my very last piece of clothing was about to hit the floor, Justin suddenly lunged forward, throwing his heavy Tom Ford overcoat over my shoulders, completely shielding me from the camera. Are you really this much of a cheap slut, Selena? He hissed in my ear. But as he pulled me close, he suddenly paused. He sniffed the air near my neck, his brow furrowing deeply. This smell? You really are something else, Selena. You actually dared to go out and let another man touch you. The scent was Marc Jacobs Daisy. It was the very first perfume the 18-year-old Justin had ever scraped together his tips to buy me. He had completely forgotten. Before I could even defend myself, Justin violently ripped the overcoat off my shoulders, leaving me entirely naked and exposed to the live stream once again. If you want to degrade yourself like a whore, then I'll gladly help you. Tears pooled in my eyes, but I didn't care anymore. It didn't matter how many millions of people were watching. I was already dead inside. Finally, Justin threw a black Amex card at my feet like I was a beggar. He gathered up all my discarded clothes, walked out to the balcony, and tossed them into the Hudson River below. Good show. Give my regards to your mother, he sneered. He wrapped his arm around Haley's waist and walked out, leaving me shivering on the floor. A second later, my phone buzzed. It was an automated text from the hospital. Time of death, 11:42 p.m. In an instant, the very last pillar of strength holding me together completely shattered into dust. As I stumbled blindly out of the penthouse and into the dark alleyway behind the building, a heavy baseball bat suddenly cracked against the back of my skull. I was dragged into the pitch-black shadows. The vile, greasy laughter of strange men echoed above me. Since you already stripped naked online, you might as well give us a taste. Never fucked a billionaire's wife before. Let's see if she's worth the hype. I clawed at the dirty pavement until my fingernails broke and bled, but eventually, I lost all strength to fight back. Miles away, Justin dialed my number over and over again, but it kept going straight to voicemail. Suddenly, a push notification popped up on his phone, trending on NYC TikTok, billionaire's wife found in alleyway. Driven by a sickening sense of dread, he clicked the link. The horrific, violent video that loaded on his screen instantly turned his eyes a bloodthirsty, monstrous red. In the video, Selena was lying naked on the cold, dirty floor, completely at the mercy of her attackers. The live chat was moving at lightning speed, filled with disgusting comments. Her husband threw her out anyway, who cares? Damn, NYC's finest really is the billionaire's wife. Watching the vile words scroll across the screen, Justin's eyes nearly split open. Who the fuck dared to touch my wife? Completely losing whatever control he had left, he slammed his fist directly into his phone screen, shattering the glass. Hearing the commotion, Haley hurried over. She caught a glimpse of the video and let out a dramatic, impressed gasp. Oh my god. I didn't know Mrs. Bieber was such a good actress. If I didn't look closely, I really would have thought this was real. Justin frowned in confusion. Real? Haley continued her performance, her tone sickly sweet. Think about it, Justin. Who in this city would actually dare to touch the famous Mrs. Bieber? She obviously hired people to stage this just to play the victim and get your sympathy. It's probably because I made her mad earlier. Saying that, Haley let out a few pitiful, fake sobs. Justin absently patted her shoulder, but his heart was pounding violently against his ribs. Earlier, he had only forced Selena to strip out of a momentary fit of absolute rage. He just wanted to break her pride and humble her. And the biggest reason he snapped was because he couldn't stand the smell on her. That cheap, awful perfume she was wearing completely set him off. But at the same time, it smelled inexplicably familiar. Haley wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling him back to reality. Justin, babe, spend the night with me. We can try that new thing we talked about, she purred, her fingers tracing the buttons of his shirt. But for the first time ever, Justin actually pulled her hands away. Rain check. I need to go home. Leaving those words behind, Justin walked out, his chest tight with a suffocating, inexplicable dread. He drove his Porsche like a maniac back to the penthouse. But when he arrived, he was completely stunned. The front door was cracked open. A trail of smeared blood stretched from the entryway all the way down the hall, disappearing into the dark alleyway behind the building. It was the exact same setting as the video. No, it can't be. The thought of Selena actually being brutally attacked sliced through his heart like a serrated knife. Right at that moment, his phone rang. It was his executive assistant. Mr. Bieber. I had our cybersecurity team analyze the video. It's real. There are no deepfakes or edits. Boom. It felt like the entire world just collapsed on top of him. Who the fuck has the balls to do this? Find them. Find them right fucking now. Yes, sir. Right away. Hanging up the phone, a tidal wave of suffocating guilt and self-hatred crashed over Justin. He couldn't even begin to process the fact that his twisted punishment had actually resulted in Selena being brutally assaulted. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, I swear I didn't know. He slowly slid down the wall, all the strength draining from his body. He dialed her number over and over and over again, but the only response was the cold, automated voice of the operator. The number you have reached is currently unavailable. Every single minute of waiting felt like a knife twisting in his gut. Desperate, Justin drove straight to Mount Sinai Hospital. Selena's mother would definitely know where she was. But when he arrived at the VIP ward, the hospital bed was completely empty. Where is the patient who was in this room? Where did she go? He demanded. A passing nurse looked at him in confusion. Oh, the patient in that room passed away earlier tonight. It's such a tragedy, really. Her daughter's bank accounts were suddenly frozen, and we couldn't keep her on life support. There was nothing we could do. Hearing those words, a deafening ringing filled Justin's ears. He had only frozen her accounts to scare her, to force her to beg him. He actually ended up killing her mother. For the first time in his life, the fearless, untouchable billionaire was utterly paralyzed, terrified of how he could ever face Selena again. Just then, his assistant came sprinting down the hospital corridor, out of breath, holding a manila folder. Mr. Bieber. This was just delivered to the corporate office by a law firm. Justin took the folder and pulled out the divorce papers. Staring at the signature on the bottom line, he froze. It was undeniably his own handwriting. But he had never signed this document. How is this possible? No one can forge my signature this perfectly. The assistant leaned in, examining it closely, looking confused. Sir, honestly, it looks exactly like your signature from a few years ago. Justin stared at it. The assistant was right. The strokes were slightly more unrefined, more youthful. When he was 18, he and Selena used to sit on the floor of their cramped Brooklyn studio, practicing their signatures, dreaming of the day they would sign multi-million-dollar contracts. And in that exact moment, it finally clicked. The perfume. Marc Jacobs Daisy. It was the very first bottle of perfume he had ever bought Selena, paid for with the tips he saved from working double shifts at a diner when he was 18. It was cheap, but she had loved it so much. While he was standing there, completely lost in his own mind, a familiar figure flashed past the end of the hallway. Justin chased after it. When the figure turned around, Justin stopped dead in his tracks. It was his 18-year-old self. The teenage boy looked frantic, his eyes red and brimming with tears as he searched every corner of the hospital. Seeing the 25-year-old Justin, the boy stopped, his face twisting in absolute rage. Without a second of hesitation, the 18-year-old threw a vicious punch directly into the billionaire's jaw. Why the hell would you hurt her? I brought her to the hospital. Where did she go? Justin tasted blood in his mouth. Slowly, he accepted the impossible reality standing right in front of him. It was you. You were the one who signed the divorce papers for me. How could you do this? I love Selena, the older Justin roared. Hearing that, the 18-year-old let out a disgusted scoff. You love her, so you cheat on her? Do you even know who Haley really is? She faked being drugged, she manipulated you into turning against your own wife. You are completely rotten to the core. Spitting at the billionaire's feet, the boy turned and sprinted down the hall, screaming Selena's name. Justin stood completely paralyzed. Had he been wrong about Selena this entire time? Filled with a sickening, creeping dread, Justin drove straight to Haley's townhouse. As he walked up to the door, he heard her voice through the crack. She was on the phone. Yeah, I saw the TikTok video. You guys did a great job. The billionaire's wife has a pretty nice body, doesn't she? Consider it a bonus. I'll wire you the rest of the cash right now. As she was typing the passcode into her banking app, she slowly looked up and realized there was someone else in the room. Jay Justin? When did you get here? Justin let out a cold, terrifyingly quiet laugh. He couldn't believe his own ears. It really was you. Haley, who gave you the fucking balls to play me like this? What did Selena ever do to you? Haley scrambled up from the sofa, her eyes wide with desperate, manic stubbornness. She didn't do anything to me. But I just wanted to have you all to myself. Is that a crime? Selena is old news. She can't even give you kids. Why do you even want to keep her around? Hearing her words, Justin felt an overwhelming wave of disgust. Did you honestly not do your research? The women I keep around are just toys to kill time. What made you think you were any different? His cruel words pierced right through Haley's delusions. She stared at him, completely horrified. Toys? Don't you love me? Justin let out a vicious sneer. Love you? Keep dreaming, you psychotic bitch. I'm giving you exactly one chance. Tell me where Selena is right now, or I will make you wish you were dead. Haley collapsed onto the floor, completely broken. I swear I didn't kidnap her. Before she could even finish her sentence, Justin delivered a brutal kick directly to her stomach. He turned to his bodyguard standing in the doorway. Teach her a lesson. As he walked out the door, Haley's agonizing screams echoed behind him. Please. I'm sorry. Justin walked out of the townhouse, completely hollowed out. As he reached his car, he ran straight into the 18-year-old version of himself. The boy's eyes were bloodshot, practically sobbing. It's all your fault. Why can't I find her either? When I was clinging to life in that dark alleyway, the 18-year-old Justin was the one who found me and saved me. In that moment, it felt like I had been violently pulled back 7 years in time. Back then, Justin put me above everything else in the world. I was his absolute priority. If I suffered even the slightest scratch, he would panic so hard he couldn't even breathe. The boy clumsily filled out my hospital admission forms and ran across the entire city just to buy my favorite pastries from a specific bakery. He sat by my hospital bed, crying as he stroked my hair. Selena, don't go back to him. Just stay with me from now on. But 7 years from now, this boy would still turn into that man. He would crush my love beneath his expensive Italian leather shoes. He would carelessly sleep his way through Manhattan. He would trample all over my dignity and turn me into a public laughingstock. No matter what, the ending was already written. So, when the 18-year-old Justin left the hospital room to go buy me dinner, I ran away. I refused to experience that agonizing, soul-crushing torture a second time. I rented a quiet, modest apartment and focused entirely on healing my body. At the same time, I completely vanished from the elite, billionaire wives' social circle. It wasn't my world. It wasn't my social class. I was done forcing myself to fit in. Away from the noise, I lived a few days in absolute peace. But I should have known better. Justin eventually moved heaven and earth to track me down. The man standing at my door looked utterly exhausted. The dark circles under his eyes were bruised and heavy. The first thing he did when he saw me was frantically try to check my arms for injuries. Selena, I swear I had no idea it would go that far. Let me see where you're hurt. I violently slapped his hands away and took 2 steps back. I don't need your fake concern. Justin, we are completely, permanently done. From the moment he forced me to strip on a live stream, from the moment he used my mother's life support as leverage, I swore to myself that he was dead to me. Justin had completely changed. He was a monster, not the man I loved. Hearing my words, Justin panicked and desperately grabbed my hand. Please don't say that. I know I messed up. Selena, it's all my fault for believing that lying bitch. You can hit me, you can curse at me, whatever you want, okay? Saying that, he grabbed my hand and tried to force me to hit his chest. But the second my skin touched his, I instinctively snatched my hand back like I had been burned. He felt dirty. Justin froze. His voice cracked with a choked sob. Do you really hate me that much? I completely cut off Haley for you. I had my guys beat her half to death. She will never show her face in our city again. We can just go back to normal now, okay? Even now, he still didn't get it. I never gave a damn about Haley. She was just one of his countless toys. If it wasn't her, it would be someone else next week. What truly killed my love for him was the fact that he had fundamentally turned into a monster. I let out a bitter, mocking laugh. Go back to normal? You essentially murdered my mother, and you think I'm just going to go home and play house with you? Justin, you really think entirely too highly of yourself. Justin stared at me, completely unable to process my words. Tears spilled from the corners of his eyes. I don't believe you can be this cruel. I know you could never actually bear to leave me. You're just saying this to punish me, right? Watching him completely delude himself, I pulled the official, stamped divorce decree out of my purse and held it right in front of his face. Do you believe me now? The sight of the divorce papers seemed to physically burn his eyes. In the next second, he snatched the papers from my hand and violently ripped them to shreds. The 18-year-old me might be willing to let you go, but I'm not. Selena, I'm begging you, just give me one more chance. I'll change. I'll go back to being the guy I used to be. I swear you'll fall in love with me again. On the night of my birthday, the 18-year-old Justin had held me tightly, crying as he said the exact same thing. Selena, the 25-year-old me is a piece of shit. But if you just give me a chance, I promise I'll stay true to who I am right now. Both of them swore they would repent. Both of them promised to make it up to me, but I couldn't gamble my life on them anymore. I looked him dead in the eyes, my voice completely serious. If I had to do it all over again, I would never choose you. With that, I slammed the door in his face. Outside, Justin pounded frantically on the door, screaming, demanding to know why I was leaving, why I was being so heartless. But he still didn't realize that the only truly heartless person in this story was him. For the next few weeks, 2 men essentially camped outside my apartment building. One was the 18-year-old Justin. The other was the 25-year-old Justin. Whenever they ran into each other, it would devolve into a brutal fistfight, leaving both of them bloody and bruised. The older man blamed the boy for signing the divorce papers. The boy blamed the older man for betraying my love and ruining our marriage. But I saw it with crystal clarity. Justin was Justin. The ending would always be exactly the same. One afternoon, right as I walked out of my building, I ran straight into Haley. She was limping heavily, looking absolutely deranged. The arrogant, entitled mistress from before was completely gone. Selena, you ruined my fucking life. Why do you get to just walk away and live peacefully? I had absolutely zero interest in talking to her and kept walking. But Haley lunged at me, grabbing my arm with a manic grip. If I have to live a life worse than death, I'm taking you to hell with me. Suddenly, she pulled a switchblade from her pocket and pressed the blade directly against my throat. Are you insane? Let go of me. I screamed in panic. Out of nowhere, Justin appeared. He delivered a brutal, flying kick, sending the knife clattering across the pavement. Are you out of your fucking mind, Haley? If you touch one hair on her head, I will literally end you. Haley was kicked to the ground. She looked up at him, sobbing pitifully. What is so great about her? You used to protect me exactly like this. Justin glared at her with pure, murderous intent, before frantically turning to check my neck. Does it hurt? Come on, I'm taking you to the hospital. I shoved him away firmly. I'm not that fragile. Justin stared at the tiny scratch on my neck, his eyes filled with lingering terror. Ever since that night in the alley, I've been so terrified for you. Thank God you're okay. He reached out, trying to pull me into his arms. I looked at him with absolute disgust and stopped him. Justin, can you just put your psychotic mistresses on a leash? Stop letting them out to bite people. Justin opened his mouth, desperately trying to explain himself, but I had already turned around and walked away. A few seconds later, the sickening sounds of brutal violence and screaming erupted behind me. Why the fuck would you try to hurt her? This is all your fault. Because of you, Selena hates me. Give her back to me. Haley only managed a few agonizing wails before she went completely silent. Later, I saw it on the news. There was a horrific, fiery car crash on the Brooklyn Bridge. The billionaire tech CEO, Justin Bieber, had driven his Porsche directly off the bridge and plunged into the East River. His body was never recovered. When the media started speculating about the identity of the other driver involved in the crash, I already knew. It was the 18-year-old Justin. In the end, he murdered himself. Whether it was the 18-year-old boy or the 25-year-old man, both versions of him were finally, permanently erased from my life. And I would never, ever miss either of them.